Batman fans, welcome back to my channel. This is ICD Movie Reviews. My name is Nolan, and guys, The Batman, my most anticipated movie of 2022, is coming out next week, and I heard fantastic early reviews for the movie, so I decided to celebrate The Batman coming out next week. I'm going to see an advanced screening for The Batman on March 2nd in IMAX. I'm really excited. I decided to finish off reviewing the Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. I've already reviewed Batman Begins back in 2020. That was a really fun review, and I never get a chance to review the rest of this trilogy. So I think since The Batman is coming out, I think this is the perfect time to continue this trilogy off. Now, you're probably thinking, why aren't you reviewing the Tim Burton Batman films and the Joe Schumacher films as well? Well, I'm going to wait till The Flash comes out, because if you don't know, in The Flash, Michael Keaton in the Tim Burton movies is going to reprise his role as Batman in that movie, so I decided to review those movies when The Flash is coming out. But I think since The Batman has a dark and gritty tone to it, I decided let's finish off this trilogy, because this is some of my favorite trilogies of all time. Again, already reviewed Batman Begins, now let's review probably one of the greatest sequels, one of the greatest comic book movies of all time, and also one of my favorite movies of all time. If you've seen my top 30 favorite films of all time, this movie's on my number one. I love this movie so much, so I'm so freaking excited to review The Dark Knight. This movie is once again directed by Christopher Nolan and stars Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Aaron Arquette, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and the man himself, Heath Ledger. Now, before I get to my review of The Dark Knight, obviously this review will have some spoilers. If you have not seen The Dark Knight, seriously, if you have not seen The Dark Knight, you haven't seen a movie in general. Or if you don't like The Dark Knight, like everyone else does love, but if you hate The Dark Knight, respect your opinion, but that means you hated movies, because The Dark Knight, man, I'm excited to review this movie. Now, before we get to my review of The Dark Knight, of course, let's refresh our memories with Batman Begins. I really love Batman Begins. I thought Batman Begins is one of my favorite origin stories put into film. I think this is a great introduction to the trilogy. Batman Begins is another one of my favorite movies of all time. I could watch Batman Begins and this movie all the freaking time, even The Dark Knight Rises. But Batman Begins was a great origin story that depicts a man becoming a superhero, becoming the Batman. And I thought Christian Bale was fantastic in the role, and Christopher Nolan's direction in that film was fantastic. So now, we got a sequel that came out in 2008. And 2008, man, that's been a big year. There's a lot of movies that came out in 2008. But The Dark Knight ruled 2008. It's probably one of the best films of 2008. It gone over Iron Man, the first Iron Man. That is also very, very good. Guys, The Dark Knight, just what there is to say about it. Because The Dark Knight received great box office money, great reviews from critics and audiences alike. Everyone loves this movie, considering this is one of the greatest movies of all time, and I absolutely agree. The Dark Knight is how you do a freaking, not just a sequel, but how you do a freaking movie. Not just comic book movie as well, a movie. The Dark Knight is obviously one of my favorite movies of all time. If you've seen my top 30 list, I love The Dark Knight so much. This movie holds a very special place in my heart. Let's talk about what makes this movie fantastic and flawless. This movie is flawless. The cast in this movie all did a flawless job. From Christian Bale as Batman, one of my favorite portrayals of the character Bruce Wayne and Batman of all time. Christian Bale, I love this actor. He's been great movies, but I think in the Christopher Nolan trilogy, this is when he stands out. Him as Bruce Wayne / Batman, he is fantastic in this film. You like his character, you root for him as this hero, and I gotta say, the new Batsuit in this film is also really cool in the film. It's obviously one of the most iconic Batsuits in the Batman series. I love this suit so much. Yeah, the Batman Begins suit is also really good, but my god, this suit alone is badass. It's so armory, and I love it. But Christian Bale does a great performance in here as Bruce Wayne / Batman. Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon, loved him from Batman Begins. We explore him more in this film. His chemistry with Batman was also really well done. And also, Aaron Arquette as Harvey Dent. My god, what a performance here. He basically is a guy that cares about Gotham. He wants to basically wipe out the mob dealers and clean Gotham like Batman and Gordon wanted. Those three in this movie, for the first half of the movie, that's what they did for the first act of the movie. You've seen him wiping out mob dealers and clean Gotham up, and you just love them three together. And Aaron Arquette as Harvey Dent was fantastic in this film. From Harvey Dent, a great man that cares about Gotham, to another great villain in this film, Two-Face. Spoiler alert, he becomes Two-Face in this film, and when he is Two-Face, holy shit. But we'll get back to that story arc later. Michael Caine is also great as Alfred. I love Michael Caine in this role. It's probably the best portrayal of Alfred that I've ever seen in a film. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Jeremy Irons as Alfred, and Andy Serkis, I'm pretty sure he's going to be good in the Batman, but I don't think they can top Michael Caine, because Michael Caine blew me away in this movie. He's just so great in the film with his chemistry with Bruce Wayne. It is really well done. Also, there is a recasting in this film. Katie Holmes plays Rachel Dawes in Batman Begins, and now she is replaced by Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I gotta say, I agree with everyone, Maggie Gyllenhaal is so much better in this role as Rachel. Don't get me wrong, I love Katie Holmes in Batman Begins. I thought she was great in the film, but Maggie Gyllenhaal provided something much better. She has a great chemistry with Bruce Wayne, and also Harvey Dent. There's a love triangle, but it's a love triangle that is right, because it's a love triangle that you kind of respect, because Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne are both very good people, and you respect them, and Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent does have a good chemistry with one another, and he respects Harvey with Rachel, and I love that love triangle in the film. It's really well done. But come on, we cannot talk about The Dark Knight without talking about these two words. Heath Ledger as the freaking Joker. This is the role that made this movie one of the greatest movies of all time. Heath Ledger as the Joker in this film. Man, back when Heath Ledger was casted, a lot of people were very controversial about it. A lot of people weren't excited. Even with the pics, it looks really, really lighthearted. But when the trailers come out, everyone was giving him a chance. And when the movie came out, this is the role of a lifetime. First of all, rest in peace Heath Ledger, because he died before The Dark Knight came out, and it's very tragic, because I'm just imagining he is alive right now. This role could have changed his life forever.
And I thought my jokes were bad.
Give me one reason why I shouldn't have my boy here pull your head off.
How about a magic trick? I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. Ta-da! It's gone.
His role in this movie as the Joker is some of the best acting that I've ever seen in any movie ever. He is so fantastic as the Joker. He is very menacing, he's terrifying, he's funny at parts with some dark comedy, but my god, his acting is so fantastic with some of the most iconic lines that I've ever seen in a comic book film. My father was a drinker and a fiend. He sticks a blade in my mouth and says, "Why so serious?" I'm not gonna kill you. What would I do without you? Go out ripping out mob dealers? No. You see, you complete me. Hit me! Hit me! My god, his role as the Joker is fantastic. I don't see anyone else topping Heath Ledger. Joaquin Phoenix is honestly very, very close for being Heath Ledger, but come on. Like Christian Bale, like Michael Caine as Alfred, no one can be Joker as well as Heath Ledger. He is just phenomenal in the film. Not just his acting, but also the writing of his character. He is a smart villain. He's not just a madman that laughs all the time. He is a smart villain. He's a very organized villain. He's a villain that always has a plan. Even though the plans go wrong, he always has a backup plan. And even you understand Joker's point of view, you really understand his motivation in this film. And at times, he was right, and you really get Joker in this film. And that makes a great villain. He is an organized, chaotic villain. And I think Heath Ledger and the writing of Joker brings this movie to one of the greatest villains of all freaking time. I think Joker is one of my favorite villains in any movie ever, with Darth Vader. Love Heath Ledger in this role. But Heath Ledger is not the only thing that made this movie one of the greatest movies of all time. It is the screenplay. This movie has some of the best screenplay that I've ever seen in a movie. It is so well done. The writing in this movie is completely flawless. There's not a single scene in this movie where I'm like, oh, this could have been cut out. Every single scene in this movie has a purpose. And it's really well handled. Christopher Nolan and his brother wrote this movie, and you can see that this movie is inspired by movies like The Heat And I just love the way that Christopher Nolan made this movie. He's making this movie more as a crime drama than a superhero film, and I thought The Dark Knight completely works. And The Dark Knight, in my opinion, has some of the most iconic moments in any comic book movie and any movie ever. The action in this movie is fantastic in this film. There is a lot of beautiful looking action scenes in the film. You know, the first opening scene where Batman's fighting the Scarecrow. Also, the car chase scene with the most iconic truck flip scene that I've seen. That's actually practical, by the way. That's not CGI. That's impressive filmmaking right there. And of course, the hit me scene.
Come on, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. Come on, hit me. Hit me. Come on, hit me.
Like, come on, you can't go wrong with the action in this movie. But not just the action scenes, there are some great moments in this film. To me, this is one of my favorite scenes in this entire movie, and I think it's everyone's. The interrogation scene. This is the best hero to villain fight I've ever seen, because you don't see them actually fight. They're not physically fighting. It's more through conversation. You hear the Joker talking about his plan and point of view, and you get his motivation, and you get this intense moment where Batman really wants to kill him, but he couldn't kill him because of his number one rule. That interrogation scene is one of the most intense and well-acted scenes that I have ever freaking seen in a movie.
Where are they?
Killing is making a choice.
Where are they?
Choose between one life or the other. Your friend, the district attorney, or his blushing bride-to-be.
The whole movie is intense. There is a lot of moments where the film goes very dark, more tragic, and more intense, especially when Two-Face also came into the mix. When Rachel dies in the film, Harvey Dent obviously is heartbroken from being a good guy that cares about Gotham to a villain. Love that story about Harvey Dent. It's really freaking well done. And you see Harvey Dent become Two-Face, and I love the design of Two-Face. It looks scary. That's how I like Two-Face to look. Not like Tommy Lee Jones and Batman Forever. Just goofy. This is Two-Face. This is how Two-Face that I imagine him to look in the movies. It's just so tragic to see a awesome guy that is basically outwitting Batman and Gordon for being a good guy caring about Gotham to a villain. It's very tragic to see, but the screenplay of this movie is so well done because this is not a happy film at all. This is a dark, depressing crime drama that just doesn't stop being much more entertaining and better, and that is thanks to Christopher Nolan. He visions this movie, he brings it to life, and gives us the generations what we never seen in a movie before. I appreciate 100% what Christopher Nolan does with The Dark Knight. Guys, overall, The Dark Knight is one of my favorite films of all time. This is a review I wanted to review for a very long time. Finally, I reviewed The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is some of the best films that I've ever seen and one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. The action is fantastic. The performances are great from Christian Bale, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Michael Caine, Aaron Eckhart, but Heath Ledger. This is his movie. He is so fantastic as the Joker. This is one of the most iconic roles from him. The Dark Knight definitely is a great sequel. It is definitely better than Batman Begins, even though I love Batman Begins. Come on, everyone knows how great The Dark Knight is, because I agree with everyone. The Dark Knight is, in my opinion, a masterpiece. And I am absolutely going to give The Dark Knight an A+. So guys, that is my review for The Dark Knight, and of course my next review is going to be The Dark Knight Rises. That review is coming up very, very soon. So, of course everyone has seen The Dark Knight, so just let me know what you think of this film. Do you like this film? Do you hate this film? You thought it's okay? Let me know in the comments below, and what is your favorite Batman of all time? Who's your favorite actor who portrayed Batman? Let me know down in the comments below, and are you excited for the Batman? I am. Let me know also in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notified for more movie reviews and movie related content. Make sure you guys follow me on Facebook, Stardust, Instagram, Twitter. Keep contact with me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and...